Chapter 14, Under the Stars. The following week was a whirlwind of activity at the office, filled with meetings, deadlines, and the usual hustle and bustle. Grace tried to maintain her focus, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Simon and Michael, caught between the comfort of the past and the promise of the future. Despite the chaos, Simon remained a steady presence in her life. He continued with his small gestures of affection and support, always careful to respect Grace's space while subtly reinforcing his feelings for her. It was clear to Grace that Simon was not just trying to win her over but was genuinely committed to proving his worth. One Friday evening, as the workweek drew to a close, Simon surprised Grace with an invitation for a special dinner. This time, he had planned something more intimate, aiming to create a moment away from the office and the complexities that came with it. "Grace," Simon said, catching her as she was about to leave the office. "I've planned something for tonight. I hope you'll join me." Grace looked at him with a mix of curiosity and anticipation. "Where are we going?" "It's a surprise," Simon replied with a playful grin. "But I promise it will be worth your while." Despite her initial hesitation, Grace found herself intrigued. She nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. "All right, I'm in. What should I wear?" Simon's smile widened. "Wear something you feel great in. We'll be outdoors, so dress comfortably." As the sun began to set, Grace arrived at the location Simon had chosen, a charming, secluded garden nestled on the outskirts of the city. The garden was a hidden gem, with twinkling fairy lights strung between the trees, casting a soft, magical glow over the space. There were lanterns lining the paths and a table set for two under a canopy of stars, with candles flickering softly in the evening breeze. Grace's breath caught as she took in the scene. It was beautiful, intimate, and incredibly thoughtful. Simon stood beside the table, looking more handsome than ever in a crisp shirt and dark jeans. His eyes lit up when he saw her, and he extended a hand toward her. "Welcome to your surprise," Simon said, his voice warm and filled with affection. Grace took his hand, feeling a rush of excitement and nervousness. "It's amazing, Simon. I didn't expect anything like this." "I'm glad you like it," Simon replied, leading her to the table. "I wanted to create a special evening for us, something where we could just enjoy each other's company without any distractions." They settled into their seats, and Simon poured wine, the glasses clinking softly in the serene night. As they ate, the conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with laughter and shared stories. Simon was attentive and charming, making Grace feel cherished and admired. After dinner, Simon suggested a walk through the garden. The air was crisp, and the night sky was dotted with stars, creating a romantic backdrop for their stroll. As they walked hand in hand, Grace felt a sense of peace wash over her. The weight of her recent decisions seemed to lift, if only for a while. Simon was attentive and gentle, his presence a soothing balm to her frayed nerves. Eventually, they found a quiet spot with a cozy blanket spread out under a large oak tree. Simon guided Grace to sit down, and they both settled onto the blanket, the stars overhead creating a canopy of glittering light. "This is perfect," Grace said softly, leaning back and gazing up at the sky. Simon looked at her, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "I'm glad you think so. I wanted tonight to be about more than just a romantic gesture. I wanted it to be a reminder of why we connect so well, why what we have is worth pursuing." Grace turned to face him, her heart swelling with emotion. "Simon, you've done so much to show me how much you care. I don't think I've ever had someone be so thoughtful, so attentive." Simon reached out and gently brushed a stray lock of hair from her face. "Grace, you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. You've been through so much, and I want to be someone who makes you feel valued and loved." His touch sent a shiver down Grace's spine, and she looked into his eyes, seeing the depth of his feelings for her. "Simon, I can't deny that I've been struggling with my own feelings, with the choices I need to make. But I want you to know that what we have is important to me." Simon's gaze softened, and he took her hand in his. "I understand, Grace. I'm not asking for anything more than for you to be honest with yourself about what you want. I'm here, ready to support you, no matter what. Grace felt a rush of gratitude and affection. The sincerity in Simon's voice, the warmth of his touch, made her realize how much he had come to mean to her. She leaned closer, her heart racing, and found herself drawn to him in a way she hadn't expected. Simon seemed to sense her closeness, and he slowly leaned in, his eyes locked on hers. The world around them seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of them under the stars. And then, as if guided by the magic of the moment, their lips met in a tender, heart-fluttering kiss. It was a gentle, exploring kiss, filled with the depth of their shared emotions and the promise of what could be. When they finally pulled away, both of them were breathless, their hearts pounding in unison. "Simon," Grace whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "That was incredible." Simon smiled, his eyes sparkling with joy. "It was, wasn't it?" Grace nodded, feeling a sense of clarity she hadn't felt in a long time. She still had decisions to make, still needed to navigate the complexities of her feelings and her past. But in that moment, under the stars, with Simon by her side, she felt a glimmer of hope and possibility. For now, she allowed herself to simply enjoy the connection they shared, to savor the love that was slowly blooming between them. The future was still uncertain, but with Simon's love and support, Grace felt more ready than ever to face whatever came next. Click follow for the next chapters.